Welcome to the Green Zone. This is the last one, Adam. 2025. It's been a fun year. I think this is the last podcast for of season 2, and I just recently found out that we got renewed for season 3. So, not only do we have one of my favorite guests on today, Serena, but I'm very excited about the prospect of sharing, your dad jokes and all the other great topics that we cover in 2026. So our contract has been renewed for 2026, and so season 3 is coming. But this is a fun way to end 2025. A couple of things that were very interesting. 2025 represents our 10th year in business from Netradyne, which we kicked off a very interesting Madden-esque tour across the country, visiting handfuls and handfuls of customers, interacting with thousands of drivers, I think handing out hundreds of thousands of pieces of swag. And so we have Serena, who was the champion of the Customer Obsession Tour, joining us today. And I thought we'd spend a couple minutes recapping this adventure.
That is great, Adam, and great intro. Serena Schlaile, our Director of Customer Marketing, has been such a boon to Netradyne. And not only was she the figurehead and leader of the Customer Obsession Tour, this is her brainchild. This is her creation. And the finished product, everything that we did, all of the events, everything that went into this was just 100% top notch. I can't imagine not having her on this tour. So thank you for setting aside time, Serena. Would you like to give a shout out to any of our listeners?
Yeah, well, thank you for that lovely intro and for the invitation to be here. This is very exciting, and it was a really, really fun tour. But I do want to shout out to any of our customers that jumped on, especially those that we met along the tour. I understand we have some drivers here, so thank you for being here, making the time. We know you guys are busy, and gals.
Yeah, so just a reminder to all the visitors, to ask questions in the comments section. And then, at the end of the show, we'll kind of take a peek at the questions and allocate a little bit of time to answer the questions. But I thought we'd get started. The big question is, what is an obsession tour and why a customer obsession tour, Serena?
Yeah, no, great question. And you touched on this a bit, Adam, but, going into our 10-year company anniversary, we challenged ourselves to think of a really, really big idea. And I think when we were doing our brainstorm, we were looking back and really thinking about what's defined us as a company. It's our obsession with our customers. And so that's really what grounded the tour and how we brought this tour to life and taking it on the road. And that's how the tour was born. And during the tour, we and Adam, if you want to start your ticker there, but we traveled to 10 different cities. We drove over 10,000 miles. I think we met with roughly 35 customers and prospects along the way. So really, really put the time in on the road, which I think just marries so well with, of course, what our technology does. And if you're wondering how we got around, it was in a 30-foot RV that we rented, and we wrapped in this really beautiful green ombre wrap, and we named her Nessie. And our lab team even installed our latest technology on the RV so it could double as a live demo, which was really fun when we got to certain cities. So, yeah.
Yeah, when we get to the pictures, you'll see the pictures. The first time that you had said to me, Serena, hey, we should do an RV tour. Of course, I thought about John Madden, and there's a lot of stories of John Madden who was terrified to fly. And so he would essentially travel the country in an RV. So I had visions of that. And then the first day I saw the RV, it was just gigantic green, like illuminating green RV
green.
With our letters all over it and our logos on it. And I remember after I picked my jaw off the ground, I kind of looked at you and go, how do we do that? Who let us do this? And
you did, Adam.
Oh no. I was
Not
down.
you.
I was down green. We greenlit this thing, but to actually get an RV company to allow us to use their RV and fashion it with Netradyne swag, and kind of we had to do a little housekeeping in it, and I think we had kind of had a quiet pool because the adventure was not in the summertime. We certainly ventured up to. I call it the North Midwest, in the cusp of winter or in the beginning stages of, so we kind of had a little pool to see how far that RV was going to make it. But we did it. It went from San Diego to Phoenix, back to San Diego to Texas, up to Green Bay and Ohio and Illinois and back. And so, it was quite an adventure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Adam. And I mean, you and I were both a part and guest visitors on this tour. Serena, you were at every single stop, every single location, basically living on the road. But I'm curious, so like in practice, how did this tour work? Maybe shout out like some of the activities that we did, and before we show some of these photos, so we can prep our viewers on some of the fun we had and some of the work we did on site too.
Yeah, well, we decided to kick off the tour during Driver Appreciation Week, which I think turned out to be such an ideal moment because we got to meet with hundreds of drivers and all the teams that support them. We shared meals, we barbecued, we made breakfast, we handed out tons of swag. And we got to cheer on a lot of drivers at their rodeos. So I thought that was sort of just the perfect start for our tour. And along the way, we met with pretty much everyone who supports drivers. I mean, we met with the drivers themselves, of course, the executives, the safety managers, dispatchers, trainers, all of them. And we just had such a fabulous time and really, really strong conversations. But tactfully, like how this all went about is we started by identifying some best-in-class customers. And once we understood, who was interested, who was excited to participate, we were able to lock into certain cities and reach out to customers that were around those same locations. And it really grew, and the response we got was just overwhelming. I mean, I think in most cases, people were immediately interested, which made the scheduling pretty simple. So yeah, we do, of course, recognize there were a lot of parts of the country we didn't get to travel to. So we'll have some great places to visit in coming years. But that's really how we went about kind of picking where we were going to go, when we were going to go. And you had asked about the activities. Oh my gosh, I think we did just about everything. So part of the tour, of course, was content capture. We really wanted to understand those great stories. We wanted to collect customer feedback. That was really important to us. And we wanted to create really great videos. And so that was half of it. And then, of course, the other half was just showing appreciation. It's not often that we get these opportunities to be on the road with customers, and we took that seriously. So in every city, we wanted to figure out something fun and local and take care of the tabs. So in Phoenix, we rented out a suite at the Diamondbacks game. In Houston, we went to a steak restaurant. And of course, in Dallas-Fort Worth, we went to the rodeo and we went to a honky tonk. And that's when I learned that Texans are very thirsty. We had quite the bar tabs that we ran up there at Billy Bob's. But yeah, and both of you joined at points during the tour. So I'm curious.
So
what were some of your favorites?
I heard a rumor. So I have two questions for you.
Yes.
How did we? So I heard a rumor that we named the RV. You want to share with the audience kind of what where that came from, or
Oh, sure.
what the name was?
Yeah. I mean, it's big and it's green, so Nessie.
Now
Nessie's perfect. Nessie,
Yeah.
acted up sometimes, so she was a bit of a monster, and I thought the name was just very appropriate.
That is very fun. The other piece that you brought up, so my traditional belief of knowing what a rodeo was, I certainly thought I knew what that was, but when we were in Phoenix, we actually had Nessie parked prominently in front of two truck rodeos, and that one for me was a brand new learning experience because I maybe was expecting some horses or some bull riding, but it's not. It's professional drivers, navigating a very difficult course and showing their skills, and it's just incredible to be part of that to see the pride, that a number of our customers have with their professional drivers, to watch them work and then to interact with them afterwards, and share, listen to their stories and share, things that are happening in the industry. So that was I always have a number of firsts, but going to a truck rodeo was one of my personal firsts, during this tour.
Yeah, Adam, I'm really jealous. I would have loved to have gone to that event as well, but duty called elsewhere. A truck rodeo just sounds amazing. Many of the other events that I was lucky enough to partake in, and Serena, I can appreciate the comment about how Texans are thirsty, but I mean, when we were in northern Wisconsin, up towards Green Bay, and a little bit further north of Green Bay. Now we're kind of getting into what I call the rhubarb. We had some good times up there with our friends. We watched a Monday night football game. We went out to eat. I love to share that some of the most valuable moments to me were talking one-on-one. And I can remember a couple of specifics, just talking to some of the drivers that happened to be on the yard when we were filming, and, grabbing some of our swag and making comments on our system. And there was one gentleman named Jeff at Viria, and I think we'll show a photo of him, but he pulled me aside and we talked about his score, the driver app, some of the things that would trigger alerts. And I felt like I was back, like, working at a trucking company in the best of ways, the warmest of feelings. And we left that conversation as friends, and I really appreciated that. So the time spent with the individuals, time spent with a claims manager at one of our companies, one of our customers in Ohio, just hearing some of these things, it's heartwarming, but also how they're, operationalizing Netradyne and Driver Eye. There was a fun aspect, there was a work aspect to this. Just overall for me, great fun.
So, Serena, I did hear that maybe you were a participant in one of the truck rodeos, maybe in Ohio, or you had an opportunity to drive under supervised conditions, of course. And not on the road. But you got an opportunity. Was this a first time for you? Was that...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Never had I been behind the wheel of a truck before, but our good friend, Ron Burke, allowed me to do so when we were at AIM, of course, with a trainer right next to me. I don't think I took the truck more than maybe 5 miles an hour around the parking lot, but
private property, totally legal.
Property, all the boxes were checked.
We've all of a sudden become a bunch of lawyers here. Disclaimer, protection.
Yes.
Bucket list item check. That was a great time. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, I wonder, you had mentioned that we have some photos. So now I think there's two memories I have. For certain, I'm still cooling down from being in the heat in Phoenix, and I'm sure, Adam, you're probably just done digesting all the cheese that you probably ate in Wisconsin. But I remember this. This was one of my favorite dogs in this picture here. He was an interesting friend of the driver. Maybe walk through these, Serena.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking at pictures here from our first stop. This was in Phoenix. So we had gone to the Night Swift rodeos. They had done 2 separate rodeos, but it was incredible. We had, hundreds of drivers out. They brought out their families, as you can see. They were doing the events. They were ranking all the drivers. I mean, they were breaking out measuring tapes to see how close they were getting to certain lines. It was really impressive. And certain drivers, I think, what is it? As long as they're under 35 pounds, they're allowed to ride in the trucks. So we got to meet some dogs too, which I think brightened up many of our days. But while we were there, we also filmed with Night Swift. And in case the audience here hasn't seen that video, highly recommend checking that one out. But we had a great time in Phoenix, and yes, it was very, very hot. That's the crew there with the Hawaiian shirts on. They've got some great swag there at Night Swift. So we all got some Hawaiian shirts, and we got to wear those on the last day. We got to interview there with Jules. That was a lot of fun. So, and there's
a great picture of the RV right there. The first picture that we've shown here in the podcast.
Nessie.
It's beautiful. That's Nessie right there.
Yeah. That's a great photo to the right too. That shows a lot of Night Swift folks and Helver folks, and I spy with my little eye. Like Serena, you're in a lot of these photos, but Mr. Kahn, I think I see you wearing one of those festive shirts as well.
Yeah, and the other thing you can notice is, except for one or two of us, we all have shorts on because, like the ground, I think it was about 95 degrees outside, maybe a little hotter, but the asphalt, the ground temperature was even toastier. So we all took turns circulating under the one vent, and the incremental vent inside of the RV that popped out some AC. So.
That's awesome.
The premium job was inside, and you can see me in there. Probably I'm guarding the door, not letting anyone else come into the RV because of the AC. But we had lots of fun. I brought out my old Schlaile hat.
Serena Schlaile hat. Do we have some similarities here?
I caught that. Well, and Adam, you were doing some demos there in Phoenix too when we were on the RV.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, drivers would come in and they're interested in seeing and hearing about. So we had the current, all three of the current platforms we have, the D215, the 450, and the 810, all installed on the RV. So it was a little bit of a crowded windshield, not necessarily what's normal, but to be able to showcase all three systems and also watch the RV travel across the country was really fantastic.
Adam, this is one of my favorite photos here, simply because, I mean, you're always talking about thumbs up driving, and you probably coined the term 6, 7, 8 years ago. You're employee number 4 or 5 at Netradyne. So I think we need to do more with this middle photo for sure in our promotional materials.
Oh, sneak peek. It's coming. Yeah, it's coming. Serena surprised me.
Now, where is this, Serena? This looks like a blast.
Oh, man, that was a good time. You guys missed out in Dallas, but Heather did not. We had a really good time. This was Dallas-Fort Worth. And of course, when in Texas, you go to a rodeo. So we got a suite. We did barbecue. We did an open bar. And I think we had about 30 folks in the suite. But it was a lot of fun. We got to watch these great events, just being a really fun part of town. And yeah, if you keep flipping, I think we've got a few more photos here. Yeah, it was just beautiful. And then, of course, one of our reps, Andy, had the bright idea to say, hey, world's largest honky tonk is right next door. We should definitely hit that afterwards. And I was like, that sounds like a good idea.
So of course, Andy would say that.
Of course, Andy would say that. So we went to Billy Bob's afterwards. And that's when, it was rounds of lemon drop shots. We just had so many of them. And this is actually funny. One of our customers, his wife, worked for Heineken. And she's like, I get like $300 of credit at a bar once a month. No one takes me up on it. I was like, we'll do that. So she helped out with the tab a bit.
Yeah, why keep that a secret?
No, don't do
that.
No
shortage of fun. No one's driving. We're all responsible. Yeah. That sounds like an absolute blast, Serena.
It was a great time. At this point, we're now in Houston. So we went and visited a great customer, Loomis. And then that night we hosted a really nice dinner. And I know we are all sitting at different tables, but the women I was sitting with, I mean, they were just a blast. I could not have picked a better table. I mean, I think by the end I was invited to Thanksgiving dinner. So really, really good time.
Are you going to take them up on it?
No, I didn't. Maybe next year. I had plans, but Rita, oh my gosh, she's hilarious.
You drop in for Christmas dinner. I think you still got time for that.
Yeah, you're right. I got a couple days.
Here we go.
Oh man. Yeah, check that out. So Gina on my team found this fabulous baker in San Diego. We sent her a photo of the RV and photos of course, Adam and our favorite hat. We were just talking about it, and Heather there, and she made an incredible cake. I think it was too beautiful.
I think there was a sort of a mini series about the travels of the cake, because the cake was at the dinner, and then we hosted it at an event at a different location in San Diego. And I think, Adam Lang, you were the courier of the cake from point A to point B. And then I think it went to the suite in support of the ATA. And I'm not sure where it ended up after that, but the cake certainly had some mileage on it that night. And it maintained pretty well. I think some of the during the travel, some of the characters might have danced around a little bit, but it's certainly. I'm not sure if we ever cut that cake, but it was awesome.
I didn't have the heart to cut it or ask anyone to cut it. So yeah, after this amazing dinner with customers and potential customers, we brought it to a speakeasy where we had an after party. And Serena, I got to give you a hard time here because you told me it was only a couple of blocks. And so I volunteered, being a rough and tumble old farm boy, I don't mind carrying heavy things. Well, I have to say, it doesn't look like it in this photo. That cake was every bit of 30 pounds. And that's not a lot unless you're carrying it for about 6 blocks instead of 2 blocks.
0.3 miles. 0.3 miles.
We made it. We made it, and we made it intact. But yeah, Adam, you're right that those characters danced around a little bit. Here's another great shot of the dinner and our president and co-founder Avnish giving the cheers. I mean, what can you say about this here, Serena?
Oh man, this was so much fun. We had the RV in the park and ride outside of ATA. It was right outside the front doors. I think, the main day was Sunday. So we had the football game playing on a TV screen. We had coolers, we had drinks. I mean, it was just so much fun. So we got a lot of traffic because, you see a big RV in a line of trucks and you're like, well, that's unique. What's happening over there? So it was really, really fun. And then of course, we hosted the dinner that night, followed by the after party. And that is Avnish giving the champagne toast, thanking customers for partnership, of course.
And we got to shout out ATA, American Trucking Association, Management Conference and Exhibition, the MCNE. If you're listening and you can give that event a try, please do so. It was great. We got a lot of great coverage and made a bunch of new friends.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then from San Diego, Brad, our driver, took the RV on a really fast trip to Cincinnati. I think he got us there in 4 days. And we got to hang out with great customer Rumpke there. So that's Bridget. She's fabulous. She starts and ends her day in Netradyne and just making sure the drivers are safe. But we had just a fabulous time there, and just seeing their operation was so impressive. So if you flip to the next slide, we've got some photos here. Tim Bath, he's our executive champ. We've got Ben Rumpke there in the bottom left. He is a 4th generation Rumpke that works at that facility. He started as a driver. He was an intern. His journey was just fabulous. And then there in the middle is one of their top drivers. That's Ralph Snow. He's been driving there for 35 years. He's won industry awards. He is just fantastic. And something really fun that the drivers do on their trucks there, you'll see it. He's got his call sign and it's Snowman. So each of them have these really fun little nicknames that are printed on the doors. And I just love it. It was really fun hanging out with them.
I'm assuming though, he's a better driver than Snowman from Smokey and the Bandit, the guy that ran interference for the Bandit when they were out bootlegging. I'm sure the Snowman here is very safe. I love the belt he's holding. Is that like an internal contest that they do, or
yep.
What is that?
That's their driver recognition program. They create these, WWF style belts that they win every quarter. And so Ralph had been the winner for that quarter, but they got this person to make them, and they look just like them. They've got these jewels that go around. They've got their name on them. It's just fabulous. So really cool program there.
Love seeing our customers doing unique incentive plans and just kind of, that is testament. You don't need a lot of money to create that positive safety culture. And for me, positive culture is positive safety culture. They are intertwined. So absolutely love it.
Yeah. And Adam, I'm going to let you talk about this one because I know this one's near and dear to your heart. Boy. But yeah,
so
we had a good time.
This was great. This was in Youngstown, Ohio, with our customer AIM Transportation. They also are a very large leaser of vehicles, but this is their transportation division where they run freight throughout the country, do an excellent job, very safe fleet. You can see kind of one of our champions and the internal champion, Ron Burke here, shaking hands with his driver, Keith. That's his name, Keith. I remember him. And we've got a couple other photos here, but there's There's Ron just smiling away. He's always happy. Does such a great job for his team. And again, he's been a great reference for us, and he's gotten very creative with his incentive plan. And as I bump it to this next slide, you'll see these giant checks. Like, who doesn't like a giant check? Well, this is their drivers that took first and second at their Drive for the Crown challenge. And it was a head-to-head, a Final Four bracket style challenge where these drivers would face off individually every week, and the winner would go on. And the person that didn't win still got some recognition and consolation. But you can see up here in the upper left, that's Jesus. He took first. And then you got this wonderful poster of him holding the trophy with Ron Burke right here. And then below, here's me looking kind of goofy, handing over this giant check to Ron and Curtis, their other driver that did an excellent job for Drive for the Crown. So
yeah, it's like a NCAA style basketball tournament. I mean, they have, so they, it's not the top 64, but they have a pretty interesting mix where they look at most improved, they looked at, rookies, and they really allow for a wide participation based on, getting better and being a better driver throughout the year. It's not just the top 64 drivers. And then you're right. It's every week it's head to head, and it all boils down to like 1 or 2 weeks of head to head competition for the championship. It's interesting. Some of the customers who are seeing great results, have similarities in terms of, celebrating their drivers in creative ways. And you're right, Adam. You made a point that I want to reiterate. It doesn't cost a lot, right?
Nope.
To go to a trophy shop, it's $100. To hand it out to one employee, now you have envy, and now everyone else wants to be that person. So, $100 versus punishment. I think it's an investment that just pays off in multiples.
Well, you were speaking on that, Adam. I transitioned to the next slide here, and
is that you and Serena with safety vests on?
Safety vests, safety glasses. I mean, we donned it all because we wanted to be safe on the yard, and we're having a great time in that photo. I forgot what was. Serena wanted to drive the vehicle, and we do have a video somewhere of that happening. I don't think we're going to show it on this video, but we might reprise it somewhere. The lower right-hand corner is Serena, you, myself, and Ron Burke. And this was actually taken from the cab of one of their trucks. They just hit the driver initiated button, and we pulled a screen grab from it. Great photos. There's Keith in the upper right-hand corner. I feel very badly because I can't.
That's
Amanda, the safety director, or one of the safety managers for AIM Transportation, former driver. She had so many great things to say. Man, her perspective was absolutely amazing. So I spent a little bit of time talking to her. Serena, you interviewed her for quite some time. Just a great team of people. Oops. And it looks like I slipped to the next one.
No worries. I was just going to say, we do have a video coming out with AIM. So you'll be able to see Keith and Amanda and Ron in that, and Dave. They did a great job. So we'll have to share that. But yeah, here we're now in Green Bay, visiting a great customer, Schneider. And what was really fun about this visit, we didn't even think about it, but the swag we had created for the tour were Green Bay Packers colors. It was all green, it was gold. And so that swag went so fast. It was just like, oh my gosh, wait, like what? These are our colors. And so, I mean, we had t-shirts, we had trucker hats, we had bandanas, we had sunglasses, everything was green. So that was a really popular stop, but we had a good time. We stopped in for lunch, dropped off some great swag, met with their team, had a really good time.
Shout out Schneider.
Yeah. And here we are with Viria. You can tell by all the yellow.
Viria Truck Lines up in Marinette, Wisconsin, about an hour north of Green Bay, and right on the border of what we call the UP for our listeners, Upper Peninsula of Michigan, kind of that connected area where, I don't want to offend any Michigan listeners, but why is that a part of Michigan and not a part of Wisconsin? I don't know, but we won't get into geography. Marinette, wonderful, beautiful town. Some folks from Erie here. The driver, Jeff, that I spent a lot of time talking to. Tim, Greg, Lee, great people. Karen Smirchek, their president and second generation owner, very active in the trucking industry and a big advocate of safety. She's the current chairperson of the Truckload Carriers Association, first female to hold that role, active in women in trucking, just a phenomenal person and business leader. I see down here, they've got one of their brand new students running the simulator. And back here is Tim Cordula in the corner. He's making sure everything's good. And I loved watching this because Tim would throw curveballs and change the weather on the simulator, throw a deer out there. So what a fun time we had with these folks. Now, this is a little wild here. I don't know, Serena, if you want me to quick review this.
Oh, I sure do. Yes. And you'll have to tell folks who were carrying there in that upper left-hand photo.
Well, her name, as I recall, was Heidi, and that was our helper waitress at Manny's Steakhouse, Minneapolis. And I'll just say, if you know, you know. Manny's is a top 10 destination for steak in the country. No joke. And I mean, Heidi took care of our table with the Helver Lines team. Helver Lines, shout out of Superior, Wisconsin. They've also got a terminal in Rosemount, which is just down the road from Minneapolis. But you see several photos of us enjoying. There's Brad, our driver. There's Todd, one of their drivers. Bunny, Kendra. I see you in the back there, Serena. We got Carter, our photographer. We got Kara from marketing. We got Steven from our team. Brady. Just a phenomenal time. Great dinner. I love these photos. This was at their terminal the next day. And just, you know, I've got a special place in my heart for these folks. People know that. I spent 10 years of my life here, and just they do things very well, very safe. A lot of respect for this fleet, and wonderful, wonderful drivers. Keep safety in mind at all times. There you got RJ and Kendra. Beautiful aerial shot of the yard. Now, oh man, I think this was the wrap up of the tour. And speaking of wrap ups, I know we're just a titch over time, so I thank everyone for sticking on. What do we got going on here, Serena?
Oh, this was so special. So this was us in Beloit. We were with ABC Supply, and we were celebrating the install or the final install of their 1,000th location. Wow. So they had hosted this huge dinner or lunch. We hosted dinner. And they had the driver roundtables there. So there were tons of drivers there. They had their executive team there. We invited our execs. You see Heather there and the account team and everyone that supported this partnership. And they had this great lunch where Brian, our champion there, and Barrett, they got on stage and they told everyone, you know, how they did it. And it was just incredible. So 18-month journey. I mean, Brian and Barrett both shared that they had our devices in their own personal cars before they rolled it out to drivers. They're like, we want to understand every bit of this technology. And I mean, it was just incredible. So we had a really good time there. And when we get to the photos, you're going to see we took over this 20,000 square foot space called Henry Dorbacher's. It had everything: bowling, like driving simulations, pool, everything.
Look at that foosball table. There's I thought that there was only 4 people normally on a foosball table.
No, this one was huge.
Those are the party foosball.
Yeah, it was a great time. But I mean, we threw a party for 200 people. It was a blast. So what a way to end the tour. To celebrate the partnership, to celebrate what this is all about. It was just fabulous.
Absolutely amazing. Beloit, Wisconsin, ABC, lots of locations, like you said. So that was a huge milestone. And I know we've gotten a little bit over time.
So if you want to learn more about the blog or the Customer Obsession Tour, there's a great blog that's on our webpage. Just go to netradyne.com. and look under the section for blog. And there's a celebrating 10 years with our customers. So the link is down here. Serena, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's very exciting. I'm waiting for the next 10 years. And I'm waiting, every time we get in front of customers and drivers, it's a blessing. Adam, it's time.
Time for a dad joke to take us out.
Yep. Take us out with the dad joke.
Well, thank you, Adam. And thank you very much, Serena. And let's wrap this up for the holidays. Everyone out there have a safe and great holiday with friends and family. Here it is.
I'm already wincing a little. I'm prepping. Go.
Well, this is particularly cringy. So I've put on a couple pounds after Thanksgiving, and I'm thinking about going on a diet. And specifically, I'm thinking about going on an all peanut diet, but that's just nuts.
All right, everyone, happy holidays, happy new year, and thank you, and see you in season 3 in 2026.
So long. Take care.